All rise. State forward. State Magistrate Court of Cobb County is now sitting. The Honorable Judge.
Thank you, Sheriff. Everybody, please be seated. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Brendan Murphy, and I serve as the Chief Magistrate Judge here in Cobb County. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome you to your People's Court. Thank you so much for being here today on this very momentous occasion. I'd like to thank our sheriff. This is our elected sheriff, Craig Owens, and thank you very much, sir, for being here, lending support, and for everything that your men and women do for us every day here at the courthouse. And by the way, the elevator got fixed already. So, that's right. This is a real courthouse. So we all had court this morning and ended court a little bit early so that we could be part of these festivities today. So we are so excited. The first thing I would like to do is really welcome you here on behalf of the 85 men and women that make up your People's Court, your magistrate court. And so if you are working, if you are a judge or a staff member of the magistrate court, would you please rise so that we can acknowledge you? Thank you so much. And so we do have with us, I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge our leaders here. We have our court administrator, Tanisha Phillips, right here. Our clerk of court, Ann Gordon. Stand up, Ann. We have our pretrial division manager, Kenya Jackson. Court support manager, Shawana Richards. Court support manager, Betsy Manston. And the judges of our court, we have Judge Quinn Casper, Judge Jennifer Inman, Judge John Strauss, Judge Rita Terry, and Judge Mike McLaughlin. Now, I see my county manager. County manager, you know most of these judges are part-time and they only get paid when they're working. I don't want you to be nervous. He's got more judges than the state court. All right, it's so good to see you, Dr. Morris. Thank you. And all of the members of what we call here the best, because Cobb County deserves the best magistrate court in the state, and that's what we have. It's because of these men and women here today. And so with that, what I would like to do next is really offer an opening prayer for us. And as I was preparing today, I really had some preparations about what kind of prayer I wanted to offer. And Judge Brown, I was thinking a lot about that. I was thinking about preparing something of great theological depth, something of great ecumenical welcome. I had some great thoughts about the season and light breaking through the darkness, and all of that was starting to feel like it was more about me trying to show off than what I'm talking to. And so as I was preparing, I came across a quote that I wanted to share with you. It came from an article from an Illinois justice named Michael Hyman. And what he found was a quote from President Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln had just been nominated by his party to be the nominee for president at that time. And of course, everybody that knows the story of Lincoln knows he had failed many times. He had failed, and he got up, and he got up, and he kept working. And so his friend, the congressman, said, okay, basically, I'm paraphrasing now 19th century talk, but he basically said, okay, big guy, you're the nominee now. And so now bad influences are going to be coming your way. They're going to, I think Nick Saban calls it sheriff rat poison, right? They say that you're great. You're on top of the mountain. You're the man. Who do you have to answer to? And that might be the temptation that all of us get on a special day like this. But what Lincoln wrote back was so key. And what he said was, may the Almighty grant that the cause of truth, justice, and humanity shall in no wise suffer at my hands. How short and how profound. Sometimes that's enough. So we can unpack what Lincoln said. Truth, that judges, that we will honestly listen to the people before us to find the facts. Justice, that we have the diligence to study the law and the courage to follow it with fidelity. Humanity, that we genuinely recognize that the folks before us are real people with real problems, and that we should treat them with the dignity, courtesy, and respect that they're due. So if you are comfortable with me in prayer, please do so in the way that you are comfortable. And we offer this simple prayer. May the Almighty grant that the cause of truth, justice, and humanity shall in no wise suffer at their hands. Amen. Thank you. At this time, I have the honor of bringing up to the podium who I like to call the Dean of the Magistrate Court. Judge Mike McLaughlin serves full-time with our court, and he is the longest serving judge of our court. He hates when I tell the part that he has been ably serving the people of this county since I was but a twinkle in Mr. and Mrs. Murphy's eye. So, Dean, please come on up and welcome our guests.
First thing they say in trial practice is never turn your back on the jury. So I apologize in advance for doing that. But as Judge Murphy said, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome guests here this afternoon. And I must say, on behalf of the part-time magistrates and the new soon-to-be full-time magistrate, this is truly a significant occasion in your lives, one that you will remember for the rest of your lives. And before we begin, I got to tell a short story on Barry Morgan, who is seated to your right. Judge Murphy is very kind when he says, I'm the dean. What that means in essence is I've been around for a while, kind of like the bad nickel that you can't get rid of. Well, I was here when Barry Morgan made his first debut as a part-time magistrate many years ago. And I know that at that time, no one else knows this, but you and I were only 15 at the time. But that's okay, because we were grandfathered in over time, and we've just remained, and they can't get rid of us. So, welcome to all of you. But all disclaimers apply in the list that I'm about to read. And by that, I mean, if you are inadvertently left off this list, it is only merely by accident. And I truly apologize for any omission that may occur. We have, I don't know if he's made it here yet or not, but former Supreme Court of Georgia Justice Harold Melton. And at some time he was caught in traffic, but that was some time ago. So hopefully he will be here, and I believe he will be addressing you a little bit later. We also have Shariki Jones, current president of the Georgia Association of Black Women's Attorneys. So when your name is called, if you can merely raise a hand, stand up, let people see you so that you can be identified. So Shariki, there you are. Thank you very much. We also have Judge Angela Z. Brown, who is with the Superior Court of Cobb County. And you might note that I stressed Z. And the reason why I stressed Z was we have a newly elected Judge Sonia Brown, and she, like Angela Brown, happened to come through the magistrate office of Cobb County. So you will have two Browns serving on the Superior Court, both of whom have come through the magistrate court. We have Judge Ashley Palmer from the State Court of Cobb County. We have Judge Marcia Lake from the State Court of Cobb County. We have Chief Judge Kelly Walk from the Probate Court of Cobb County. And you'll be seeing her in just a moment as well. We have Judge Tara Riddle from the Probate Court. We have Chief Judge Carl Bowers from the State Court of Cobb County. We have the Honorable Joyette Holmes. And where is Joyette? Joyette has an interesting history. A good history. In that, she was chief magistrate, because remember, I've served under a number of chief magistrates. But she was chief magistrate, and she helped construct the building in which we are seated in right now. So for that, we appreciate that. And I would be remiss if I did not throw in that she was also the DA of this county as well. And she served all of us very well in that role. We have Judge Janet Usher, State Court of Cobb County. Judge John Morgan from the State Court of Cobb County. We have Dr. Jackie McMorris, who is the county manager. I believe she's been acknowledged. Thank you very much. Judge Kelly Hill wanted to be here, and I might add too that she kind of came through the magistrate court as well. But she is currently a Superior Court judge, and she is handling important matters as we speak right now next door over in Superior Court. So she wishes that she could be here, but she could not make it. We have newly elected solicitor Mackie Metzger, who I believe is with us. Thank you very much. We have Rochelle Taylor, Deputy State Court Clerk. Thank you very much. And all of our protection and the way that everything works in the complex here is due to Sheriff Craig Owens and his fantastic staff. Not only do they keep us safe, but as I said, they keep everything orchestrated and operating like a well-oiled machine. And for that, we thank you and all of the ones under your lead, sir. And at this time, I will turn it back over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge McLaughlin. And if there's anyone to blame, it's me because I wrote the list. And some other people have come in since I wrote the list. It's so good to see Jareen Grimes, the president of the Cobb Branch NAACP. If your dues are not current, Ms. Grimes will be at the reception. All right. I also see our Superior Court Administrator, Mr. Christopher Hansard. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And our Juvenile Court Administrator, Mr. Adolphus Graves as well. Good to see you, sir. And are there any other elected or appointed officials that I have neglected to recognize? And of course, recognize everybody that's here. Thank you for being with us. And so now we will move to two very special guests, and that will be Judge Edmondson Cooper's nephew and son, who will join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If they'd love to come on up now. There you go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. All right. There you go. All right. So at this time, we're going to move into the administration of the oaths for our new part-time judges. Our part-time judges are truly the heartbeat and the backbone of the People's Court. When I, as the chief, get to go around to community meetings and brag about how our court is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, it's the men and women that serve as part-time judges that truly make that happen. In their work, these judges safeguard both public safety and the constitutional rights of the accused, all for a fraction of the hourly rate that they earn in private practice while maintaining their full-time job and family life. And so for that, for all of our part-time judges that are here, I truly thank you. If you were to see a picture of our part-time judges, of all of our whole bench, you would clearly see that our strength is in our diversity. You would see men and women. You'd see folks of different races and ethnicities and ages and religions. But what you couldn't see is that our diversity is also in our depth of experience, in our practice areas, in our legal knowledge. Serving as part-time judges, we have civil lawyers on both sides of the V in a lawsuit.
We have former prosecutors and former criminal defense attorneys. We have family lawyers, probate attorney, solo attorneys, attorneys that work in firms. We have a past president of our council, mediators, a couple of professors, a comedian, a trumpet player, and even a Dragon Con leader. So our group is so wonderful and diverse. And while the law, as I said just a couple of nights ago, the law is the law, the bench must reflect the community we serve for there to be full faith and credit in the promise of the law. And so I just so appreciate these part-time judges. And I want to introduce some of our newest part-time judges that'll be sworn in momentarily. First, we have Lauren Boone. Good to see you. Ms. Boone is a former Fulton County prosecutor. She is in-house corporate counsel for a large national insurance company. She's a member of GABWA and the Cascade United Methodist Church and lives here in Mapleton. Welcome, Judge Boone. Next, we have Che Correga. Mr. Correga, good to see you. And as you can tell from his tie, Judge Correga is a Michigan man. And so we have to add to our SEC diversity. I'm a Georgia man myself, but we have a volunteer. We have a tiger, war eagle, whatever they want to be this week. We've got a gator. We've got all kinds, but we must branch out to the Big Ten. And so welcome, Judge Correga. Che runs his own law firm specializing in criminal and civil cases, and he resides right here in Powder Springs. Welcome. Next, we have a man that needs no introduction. We have my old boss, who's coming home to the magistrate court, Barry Morgan. Welcome. Mr. Morgan has served as our longtime elected Solicitor General here in Cobb County. He's a former felony prosecutor and also a music educator. And he's coming back, as Judge McLaughlin indicated, to where it all started. His first legal job was part-time here at the magistrate court, typing out warrants by typewriter and candlelight. And so in all sincerity, we appreciate, it's very hard for us to have judges come back a lot of times that have criminal experience, because when you take on becoming a part-time judge at the magistrate court, you cannot practice criminal law in Cobb County. And this is a very large county, so that's given up quite a few cases. And so Mr. Morgan choosing to spend his retirement with us on the midnight shift means he's giving up lucrative opportunities in the private sector. And so we very much appreciate your continued service to the people of this county. Thank you. Next, we have Rona Woodruff. And Rona had, what so impressed us about Rona was she had served a long career as a paralegal before going back to law school. And any lawyer in the room knows that if you want to get it done, you find the paralegal. And so we were just so impressed by that diligence and that excellent career. Rona owns her own law firm specializing in bankruptcy and family law. She's a professor at KSU and resides right here in Kennesaw. So welcome, Judge Woodruff. So at this point, one of my favorite tasks, as our staff all knows, one of my favorite things that our part-time judges get to do is they do wedding ceremonies, free wedding ceremonies every day at 6 and 12. If anybody needs to get married, we will do it after the ceremony at 6. And those are always group ceremonies that whoever shows up with a wedding license that's been issued by our friends at the probate court, we get them married. And it's always a group ceremony. It's very nice. So today we're going to have a group ceremony for our swearing in. So if our 4 new full-time judges could join our chief probate judge, Judge Walt, I'll turn it over to her to introduce the oath. Thank you.
All right, this is where I get to boss you guys around before I go back downstairs. Stand up. And why don't you guys kind of turn around this way so that they can see that all of you are actually doing it. We didn't address it specifically, but since Mr. Morgan is still technically in office, he's going to do this so that he doesn't actually abdicate his current position early. But we will officially swear you in appropriately at the appropriate time. So we're going to do what I affectionately refer to as the version, so you guys don't have to hear all of these words twice. But when I get to the end of this with so help me God, if you want I do, so swear, whatever, do so. If not, then we'll find Judge Murphy and you can rethink your career path. All right, if you will raise your right hands. And do you swear or affirm that you will duly and faithfully perform all of the duties required of you as a magistrate judge of Cobb County? Do you further swear or affirm that you are not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state, that you are not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state which you are by the laws of the state of Georgia prohibited from holding, and that you are otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia, and that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state, and that you have been a resident of Cobb County for the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state, and that you, being a citizen of Cobb County and an employee of that county, and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, solemnly swear and affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia, so help you God. Okay, and we'll get you all to sign after the ceremony. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Judge Walk. And now we will hear brief remarks from each of our new judges. And we'll start with Judge Boone. We welcome you to the podium. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so honored to be here with each of you. I appreciate your being here with us to celebrate. Very grateful for the opportunity to serve a county that I love so much, that I've made my home. I certainly hope to make you proud. I'm grateful for the opportunity and for Judge Murphy giving the confidence to allow us to do that. So thank you.
Thank you to everyone for coming. I really appreciate the offer to provide confidence in the citizens of Cobb County. I look forward to working with the citizens of Cobb County. I appreciate the opportunity that Judge Murphy has given to us as new judges in the county, and I look forward to working with everybody in the county magistrate court. Thank you.
It's going to be great.
You never get into trouble ad-libbing.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank Judge Murphy for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to the long nights, I guess, of working late. But it's a good opportunity, I think, to learn something new that, and stay in the criminal field a little bit. I don't do as much criminal as I used to, so it's gonna be nice to get back into it. So.
Well, I do appreciate the opportunity to come home. The first time I was asked to be a part-time magistrate, I had passed the bar and gotten sworn in about 3 weeks. I was at a chamber event, and Judge Bodderford, who was chief magistrate at the time, came up and said, "Hey, you passed the bar?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I have." "You want to be a part-time magistrate, Judge?" "Yeah, sure." I can imagine that this time some of the search warrants that I issued will actually be good search warrants that these judges won't have to grant a motion to suppress on. So I do appreciate the opportunity to remain at home. So thank you, Judge Murphy.
All right. Thank you. All right. At this point in the program, we're very, very pleased to be able to welcome somebody else home, and that's former Chief Justice Harold Melton. Justice Melton needs very little introduction because this is his home. Wheeler High School graduate, Auburn graduate, we don't hold that against him, Georgia Law School graduate, high up in the Attorney General's office, executive counsel to governors, 16 years on this state's highest court, finally retiring as chief. He was just here a couple of nights ago. One final word about Justice Melton before inviting him to take the podium for the occasion is when COVID-19 hit this state just a couple of years ago, there were different ways you could handle that. And the way this state handled that, in order for cases to continue to be heard so that justice could be done, so that the essential functions of the judiciary would continue, so the protective orders would be issued, bond hearings would be had, warrants would be taken, all of these essential functions would continue, is because of the leadership of our chief, and that's Chief Justice Melton. So we thank you.
Well, hello. It's so good to be amongst friends. I learned last week at Judge Brown's swearing-in ceremony that one of those essential functions was weddings, some marriages. So Judge Murphy had indicated that they had performed some marriages during that period. Everybody loves a story. I want to tell a story about how I met Miss Jana Edmondson Cooper. I was the chair of the Supreme Court's Commission on Interpreters several years ago, about 2005, 6, 7, somewhere around there. And we were needing to fill a position. And we had two resumes in front of us. We had Jana's and we had another person's. I couldn't tell you who that was. The other person's resume was strong, very serviceable. We would have been glad to have him or her. Jana's resume, you ever seen a resume that when you look at it, all you see is energy? Energy just pops off the page. Well, when we looked at Jana's resume, that's what we saw. And my read of that situation was she's either going to be a great help or a big headache. One of the two. Now, that commission was kind of stiff. We were kind of stuck. We had the ability to find interpreters for Spanish. We struggled with a lot of the other languages, what we call exotic languages. And we were kind of stuck in the mud a little bit. So we said, let's take a chance. You know, what could happen? I've dealt with difficult people before. Let's take a shot. We'll manage it if it becomes a problem. So then Jana came on, and it really was one of those experiences where you say, what just happened? Is that real? And the answer was yes, it was very real. There was no headache to it whatsoever. There was no headache whatsoever. And when you have somebody that comes to you and says, hey, would it help you if? And hey, if we got these kind of resources, and hey, is this something that I can do that you think might make a difference? And you don't have to lift a finger, and all you got to do is kind of step into that wave that they create. And then next year you look back and you think, my gosh, we're a lot further ahead than where we were before. We came up with a whole statewide action plan. We had conferences, we had leadership, all under the work and energy of this wave that we call Jana Edmondson Cooper. And so I want to congratulate Cobb County for the gift that you have received in Miss Jana Edmondson Cooper, Judge Edmondson Cooper. I want to congratulate Judge Murphy for the selection. And let me just say a quick thing about leadership. I've gotten to the point, I'm old enough now, it's the first time I've said that publicly, so that means I am old. I'm old enough now where I can appreciate real leadership. There are many people that can come in and decide cases. There are plenty of people that can do that. The judge here is going to be able to do that. She's going to come in and learn from her peers. I know that. I know that from her disposition. She's going to learn. But this is what I've learned about leadership. It's the people that really don't care about being leaders, but just come in and say, what can I do to make a difference that really gets you from A to B? And the things that she is committed to are the things that are necessary to deliver justice. Now, I bet you don't know what justice is. You talk about it, you insist on it, you march for it, people die for it, but it's never really been defined. Justice is the right response. That's the right response. And so when you have something happen, our justice system tries to respond the right way as a society. But no response is an injustice. And a lot of things that Judge Cooper Edmondson Cooper is committed to is the delivery of responses to the situations that are happening, making it accessible to the public, using her foreign language skills, doing all these kinds of things that make justice available to the people. So she's going to decide cases the right way. She's going to provide leadership. She's going to help. She's going to work collaboratively. And Judge Murphy, like I said to you the other day, y'all are doing something right. Y'all are picking great people. You're bringing them into a family. You're giving them a skill set to go forward, and you send them off in their way, and they're flying higher than before. Y'all are doing something right. Congratulations to you. Congratulations, Judge Edmondson Cooper. We thank you that you're committing yourself to this next level of service. And the Cobb County and the state of Georgia, judiciary-wide, is going to be tremendously better because of what you're doing at this next level. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Justice Melton. And at this point, we're going to move into the administration of the oath of Judge Edmondson Cooper. Before we do that, I would like to say a few words welcoming her to the court. When it came time, just like I said a few nights ago, Justice Melton, first we had to fill the shoes of the great Judge Kelly Hill, and now we turn to filling the shoes of our great Judge Sonia Natasha Brown, who's been elected to the Superior Court. And so again, I was concerned about how would we find somebody with that skill set, that experience, that demeanor that we need here. And so I'm sure some people in the audience may think, well, Judge Murphy's interview technique is to sneak into the chapter meeting of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and find the best lawyer he can find. But I promise you, Judge Angela Brown, and I promise you, Judge Rita Cherry, that is not, they are members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. That is not my technique. As was indicated before, we have a wide open process. People that I know, people that I don't know, because it is so important that everybody have a chance to have a seat at the table. And the litigants of this court deserve excellence. And so that's my task, is to go find it wherever excellence is, whether that means excellence practices here in Marietta or downtown at the Russell Building or the Sam Nunn Building. I don't even know which building it is. I know it's on that resume, but I'm going to go find excellence for our people because they deserve that. So why Jana? It wasn't the awards and recognitions that Justice Melton mentioned. It's not the fact that she's bilingual, speaking Spanish and English. It's not that groundbreaking work across the state for language access. It's not all the recommendations I received by phone, by text, by email. One morning I came in, Tanisha Phillips, our court administrator, I trust her judgment of people even more so than my own. More so than my own. She's hired people a lot longer than I have. And one morning I came in and I said, I don't think I've told you this story. I came in and I said, Tanisha, I said, my mom called me last night. My mom is not a lawyer or a judge or anything like that. And she said, oh, that's great. What'd you talk to your mom about? I said, my mom said, have you heard of Janet Edmondson Cooper? And so that's just a little bit of a joke because of how many wonderful people, because they know you and they know the work, felt so strongly about you coming into this position. And so it wasn't all those things. What sets Jana apart is her complete dedication to the mission of the People's Court. And what is that mission? She has spent her career advocating for the lost, the last, and the least. She makes sure that regular people have access to justice. That is our mission, that regular folks have access to justice, that they have their day in court, they have their voice heard. And her long career as a legal services attorney for folks of low income testifies to that. She's litigated the housing cases, domestic violence cases, small claims cases that come before this court every day. Her work with the federal government enforcing this nation's labor laws speak to that. And now she brings that experience and work ethic to our bench to do justice without fear or favor and according to the law. So we welcome you. At this time, I have the honor of turning the podium over to the Honorable Kimberly M. Esmond Adams, our friend and Superior Court Judge from Fulton County, where she has served the people of Fulton County, including some of my family members, so well since 2009. So Judge Esmond Adams, please take the podium.
Thank you, Chief Judge Murphy. Good afternoon. You all can do better than that because this is really a special occasion. Good afternoon. Much better. It is a delight to be with you in Cobb County. I have to tell you that for the first 7 years of my legal practice after I graduated from law school, this was home to me. I lived in Cobb County for 7 years before moving to Fulton, where I began my public service. And so you have no idea how extraordinarily special it is to have the opportunity to administer the oath of office to someone who is very, very special to me. I don't know that anyone could have described it any better than Justice Melton. Getting to know Jana is an experience, right? When you encounter her, you know that something has happened and you may not be exactly sure what it was, but you know that you have had an encounter. And I will tell you from the very first time that I met this young woman, it was clear to me that she was going to do extraordinary things. I did not know how, I did not know when, and I certainly did not know how fast. But imagine my delight standing before you this evening to swear Jana in as a colleague and judge on the court, having had the opportunity to swear her into the State Bar of Georgia as an attorney. And so I've had some unique opportunities to do life-changing and very, very instrumental work in my role as a judge. I had the opportunity, for example, to swear into the bar a defendant who was tried before me for murder. I had the opportunity to swear in two of my church members that I served as youth usher advisor to the bar. They're now lawyers. But this is the first time I've had an opportunity to swear a lawyer in as a judge. And so it certainly is no surprise that you are the lawyer who has made that opportunity possible for me. I am, like everyone else who has spoken, excited about what you're going to do. And I know, having lived in this county, that you are exactly the type of judge that I would want serving on the people's court. Because the reality is that is the court that most people have interaction with. You are the person that people see as a judge, and you are the example to them of what a judge is. The work that you have done across your legal career, providing access, not just to underprivileged, but even language access to people who don't even understand our system, is the kind of work that few people sign up for. And you not only did it freely, but you did it with a commitment to opening the doors of justice and ensuring that everybody who lives in this country has an opportunity to have their day in court. So on behalf, I think, of all of us who are now your colleagues, I certainly thank you for that. So, madam, if you will join me at the podium. And as she's coming, I will tell you that my favorite scripture and the one by which I live is Romans 8:28, which declares that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And I know that in my own experience and certainly observing this young woman, that our gifts make room for us. And so I am excited to have the honor and privilege, hey mom, of swearing in this extraordinary lawyer. Take your time. You will raise your right hand, and I'm going to read the oath, and you will affirm at the conclusion of the oath. I, please state your full name.
I, Jana Jody Edmondson Cooper,
Swear that I will duly and faithfully perform all duties required me as a magistrate judge of Cobb County. I do further swear that I am not the holder of any accounted for public money due this state, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States or any other state or any foreign state, which I am by the laws of the state of Georgia prohibited from holding, that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state, and that I have been a resident of Cobb County for the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state. I, please state your name again.
I, Jana Jody Edmondson Cooper,
A citizen of and being an employee of and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of God, so help me God. If you do so affirm, please say so now. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Judge Cooper.
Thank you. So before I get started, there's a bet on how quick I'm going to cry. And as a good lawyer, I don't like to lose. So I'm going to try and keep it together. But I thank each and every person who has made it out today and those who are online. Thank you, Judge Murphy, for this opportunity, for granting my heart's desires for a long time to serve in this capacity. As Justice Melton forewarned you, I have a habit of making sure that when people grant me an opportunity that they never regret it. And so I come committed to work for Cobb County Magistrate Court, Cobb County, and all of those who come before the court to make sure I'm always a good steward and always to demonstrate that I appreciate and recognize the magnitude of not just the privilege, but the responsibility that comes with serving the people. So I thank you. Thank you, Justice Melton, for your mentorship, for your words, for tolerating me and my energy, for that chance that you gave a young lawyer who was only 3 years into practice when the Supreme Court appointed me to the Commission on Interpreters. And I think that really speaks volumes because a lot of times we are taught that there's only value or you can only add value once you are seasoned and once you have done work a lot of times, and that isn't always true. And so I thank you and all of the justices and all those on the commission who gave me a chance. I thank the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys who have supported, nurtured, and loved on me and given me unsolicited advice when I needed it. Say, girl, what you doing? And just allowed me to lean into the State Bar of Georgia and so many mentors and those who have invested and poured into me to allow me to stand in this space. When I decided and chose a career in public service, I knew one of the things I would be making of many was a financial sacrifice. We know public interest, when you go to law school, there is a push for you to go the private route. We all have bills to pay and other responsibilities, but I knew my heart was in public service. And so I prayed about it because I'm a very faith-based person and I followed my heart. And when I was a legal aid attorney, there were many times when, after I practiced for a little bit, people asked and said, now when are you going to become a real attorney and go make some real money? And so I prayed about it and I followed my heart. And when I got into access to justice work and I realized that that was my passion, that was my calling in language access, I sometimes would hear, now that's not mainstream. You need to go mainstream so you can be successful and have a career. And what that taught me was that success is defined by the person. And so for me, success was the positive impact I was having on my legal aid clients because everyone's case was important to them. It was a matter of whether or not they would have housing over their head. It was the matter or not of whether a grandmother who was the sole caretaker of her grandchildren, whether she would be able to continue receiving public benefits to care for those children. They were the domestic violence survivors. I don't like to say victims, survivors who were courageous enough to say, I want to get out. Can you help me get a protective order? And so though I leaned into my faith and I followed my heart, I said it was always going to be a good idea to serve others. It was never going to be too much to serve others. And so that is what I have dedicated my career to doing. And this moment, even though my name is on the program, is not my moment, but I feel as though it is our moment in terms of my family, because I stand on the shoulders of many who have sacrificed, many sacrifices, known and unknown, for me to stand in this space. A grandmother and grandparents who did not graduate high school and grew up in a segregated rural North Carolina town and reared who became my mother and my father and their siblings. Parents who are first generation college students who instilled in me what manifested to be my commitment to serving others because they were my role models. I did not have to look outside the home because I saw them every day serving our community, serving the communities of which we were a part. And so I learned that is the rent that we pay for living, is we serve others, and that's what we should be doing. So Mom and Dad, I thank you. I'm about to lose my bet. I thank you for everything. I thank you for your example. I thank you for your encouragement. I thank you for every single time when I said, I don't know if I can do this. And Dad, Mom, you say, why can't you? Dad, I thank you every time you said you have no excuse. I thank you. The words are really not adequate, but I thank you. And I'm so glad that you are here to witness and see that your sacrifices were not in vain. And I want to thank all of my family who have come in and out of town. I want to thank my husband, who is my college sweetheart. I won't tell the story of how we meet because we still disagree on exactly how that went. But honey, I love you. You have been with me since the first night we met. And I said, hi, I'm Jana. I'm a political science major at Spelman College, and I want to be a judge. And that was over 20 years ago. And since that time, you have had my back. You support me in everything that I do. You are an amazing husband, amazing father, and amazing partner. And I love you, and I appreciate you. And I want to thank his parents, my mother and father-in-law who are here. I thank you for raising the son that you did. I think you could do some classes. But I thank you for the amazing man that you gifted to me and the values that you instilled in him that allow him to be the excellent husband and the excellent father and the excellent friend that he is. And so I'm going to keep it brief, and I appreciate it. I would like to thank, I have some colleagues here from the Department of Labor. They could wave their hands. I see them. When I joined the Department of Labor 6 years ago, I was a little nervous because I was leaving a really sure thing, and it was a temporary appointment. And my mentor said, no, that's a gamble that you're going to want to take. And so I went and I interviewed and I got the position. And I knew as soon as I got there that it was the right choice, because when I got there, especially these two women who are sitting here with us today, they took me in and they did more than just the minimum. They helped develop me, they pushed me, they stretched me. They helped me to gain skills that I will carry with me here. And so for that and that experience and that opportunity to work, not just for the Department of Labor, Region 4, but in your offices, I appreciate you for all that you have done to develop me and allow me to come better prepared into this space. And so I thank you and all of my colleagues at the Department of Labor. And I would also be remiss not to thank Georgia Legal Services Program, where I got my start as a legal aid lawyer. That was the baptism by fire, being a legal aid lawyer. And so I learned so much starting out in the Macon Regional Office and traveling and putting a lot of miles on my little Honda Civic, going across rural Georgia, going into the community because we went to the clients did not come to us. And so I learned so very much and built such a solid foundation starting out as a legal aid lawyer. And so I'm gonna close, and for those who may be watching, especially my mentees, and those who, I always say, I've had so many people to pour into me, I will never, ever be able to pour it back. And so the only way that I can try is to pay it forward. And so I try and do that with my mentees and I give them unsolicited advice at times. And one of those pieces of unsolicited advice is to always show up as your authentic self. Amen. Sometimes not everyone is going to understand. They don't have to understand. You just need to understand and make sure that you're on one accord with whoever your higher being is. And so I appreciate the opportunity to be able to show up here today and in this space as my authentic self, and to have had that been said enough. And Judge Murphy, you may not know this, but since I'm putting down my trial attorney hat, I consider my interview to be my best closing argument. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Judge Edmondson Cooper. And now we have a very special moment. We're going to have our closing prayer and our benediction over our new judges and all of the people we serve. I had planned something else. But God has a way. God has a way that just yesterday I said, Judge Edmondson Cooper, can you please have somebody close us in prayer? And she said, I have just the somebody. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Judge Edmondson Cooper's father, Mr. James A. Edmondson, to the podium to close us in prayer.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Top of the afternoon to you all. It's not often that I get an opportunity to follow Jana. Nor do I try, and nor do I want to. I am particularly proud and happy for her today for the accomplishments that she's made over the years as she's gone about the business of becoming what she thought she could be, that is, a lawyer and an attorney. And I think what's important is for all of us to remember that whatever you want to be, you can be. Yes, sir. You really can. You just have to push. Push. Push hard. And that way you will succeed. So, Janet, keep going. God bless you. We love you. The community is waiting on your services, and I'm sure you'll provide it for them. I thank you very much. Let me say again, it's time for us to leave, and I hope that each and every one of you will get back home safe to your loved one, your family. Drive careful. We only get here one time. Just once. But it's good to be here today, isn't it? Yes. Isn't it? Yes. All right then. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Edmondson. And with that, we will be concluding our program. I would like to sincerely thank each and every one of you that took time out of your day to celebrate these new jurists, especially our judges and elected officials that came out of their busy schedule to be with us. Thank you. If the judges could just indulge, we're going to do a quick picture. We have some robes, some temporary robes that we're going to take a picture. And everybody, please feel free to take pictures, greet everybody. And there is a reception right here in the hallway. And so that will be available, and everybody will be coming right out there to greet and celebrate with you. Thank you to Cobb Communications and Mr. Ross Cavett for all of his hard work to make this available. to the whole community. Thank you, everybody, and have a happy holiday season.
I know you come visit us sometimes.
Sure, kid.
I have seen you. I know. It's so good to see you.